Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. We got Matthew Sparks, we got Zack Klemme, I am Aaron Snyder. We are at Ivan McGlone Field here at Henry R. Evans Stadium, where the Russell Red Devils will host West Carter this Friday night at 7:30 to start their district play. You're watching HTPT on dailyindependent.com, Halftime Prep Talk's Facebook page, or YouTube. Guys, we're going to play a little game to start off the show today. And as we're doing that, you can check out the Chick-fil-A ticker. Looking back at week 5, looking ahead to week 6. Most teams are getting ready to start district play. The two coaches here on Friday night are Kevin Brown and TJ Maynard. What is the common trait, Zach, of those two coaches?
They're both football coaches.
They're both football coaches. Matthew, you try. Common trait. Looking for a specific answer.
They're bald?
They are bald. Ding, ding, ding. We're going to play a little game called Whose Dome Do You Want on Your Side? All right? We each get 3 picks of bald guys. They could be famous or not famous or infamous or whatever.
So follically challenged?
Follically challenged
Ooh.
fellows.
That's not nice.
And
that implies that.
let me just say this, though.
Some people
Coach
are bald
Maynard,
on purpose.
Yeah,
Coach
some people are
Maynard is
on
bald by
purpose.
choice. I'm not
Yes.
sure with Kevin Brown. We have sources out to find that information out.
Ray.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, we don't want to spread false information here
No.
on HTPT.
Oh man.
So
Zach, you will go first. You will go first in the bald guy draft.
That's right.
And it's going to be a snake draft. If you're not familiar with that, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll each have our 3 bald guys. Zach, you started off.
Elmer Fudd. I didn't even have to think about that one.
Mike
Wow.
Tyson's my first pick.
Elmer Fudd?
He doesn't have to be real, I guess.
That's right.
Okay, so
Come on.
we're going there.
Yeah.
Elmer
And
Fudd, Mike Tyson.
Now a whole plethora of decisions. I think on Elmer Fudd.
You totally threw Matthew off.
That's
I'm going Bruce Willis.
Okay.
My favorite actor.
All right.
There you go again.
All right, go ahead.
Because if you got Bruce Willis as quarterback, you probably need a good linebacker, a good defensive guy. So I don't know if anybody has seen The Shield, the TV show.
I have not.
Michael Chiklis,
Okay.
a very
Wait.
scary individual that could probably be a scary linebacker.
Now hang on a second. I wasn't aware we were drafting a football team full of bald guys.
Well, you
Well, I
had,
didn't either.
You had Elmer Fudd. I'm using mine as a football team.
I thought we were
mine
drafting
has a
like-
shotgun, so
I thought we
do
were
with
drafting
that-
a street fight
do
team.
with that what you will. Again, Elmer Fudd has a shotgun, so do with that what you will.
So Michael Chiklis and Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have Mike Tyson. My second pick is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, who's an army general and a president and also bald.
And for your third pick, Elmer Fudd and Dwight D.
No, I don't go. Oh, I do.
Yeah,
go.
you do.
Mm. Well, the whole street fight thing throws this off. So
Well, I
don't
just
know.
made that up. You can do whatever you want with these guys.
Well, remember
hang out with 'em?
George Costanza, and you remember the episode of
Ah.
Seinfeld where there's a brawl and a fire and he just runs?
Yeah.
So I don't think you could beat him up because he would just run. So brilliant. Although there is, well, later in the show, doesn't he like get accosted by a couple of a certain orientational leaning in
Yeah,
New York?
I believe he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe
Yeah,
he does.
Certain words that you can't get bleeped out. So
Right.
be
Moving
careful
on.
what you
Not
say,
that
but-
there's anything wrong with
Right.
that. It says Elmer Fudd, George Costanza,
Dwight D.
and
Eisenhower.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. I thought my team was good, but I can't beat that.
You're wrong.
Tyson, Shaquille O'Neal, and I was torn between Jesse the Mind Ventura and Jesse the Body Ventura. I've already got a lot of muscle on my team, but I'm going to go with more muscle. Jesse the Body Ventura from The Predator, that version.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Matt, close it out.
The final pick.
With the final pick in the ball guy draft.
I'm
This
going.
is so ridiculous.
I thought this was a sports show. I'm going Dr. Evil.
Oh!
He has goals. He wants to take over the world. I think that's pretty big.
That's a good goal.
Solid.
Yeah.
All right. We have goals to move on with this show. Game balls. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take Marcus Daniels of Ashland. The junior linebacker was a very fierce competitor on Friday night at Ironton. He really took it to heart, just as the rest of the defense did, that we're going to make a statement on this field tonight, and they sure did. Marcus Daniels was the leader of that defense. He spearheaded a great effort that limited Ironton to 3 points. And Marcus Daniels talked about that defense on Friday.
Oh, it's great. Best we had all year. They drove it down our throats pretty hard first play, and then after that we got it together down there, and then we locked down from there.
All right, well, I usually take pride in the fact that I don't have to use paper like you yahoos, but for my game ball, I want
I
to
don't
make
even
sure
look at it. I just kind of.
It's your Linus blanket.
Right.
Greenup County's offensive line had a huge night last week against Lawrence County. Ended up rushing for 323 yards, did the Musketeers. And usually, of course, blocking for the likes of Jake Wright and Cade Warren makes your life a little bit easier typically. But Greenup County had some struggles of getting off the ground early in their season. But combination of Dylan Craycraft, Christian Neese, Mark Angel, Evan Urbina, and Jacob Rowe, a freshman making his first career start, according to Scott Grizzle, really helped Greenup get off to a good start. And they were able to parlay that into a pretty dominant win at Lawrence County.
All right. Let's hand the ball over to Matthew. You need this, don't you?
No, I don't. No, I don't need this. I think my choice this week actually doesn't use a ball in his sport.
Oh.
I'm going to choose cross country and track star for Boyd County, Elijah Miller. And for my presentation, I kind of went in your closet, Aaron. I kind of stole your running shoes, so I have my game running shoes.
I thought I heard a noise
You
last
went in
night.
Aaron's closet?
Yeah,
I heard a noise last night. It was scary.
There you go.
You know,
Must have been Matthew raiding my closet.
well, these shoes seem really well worn. I think it's too bad this show is not sponsored by odor eaters right now, but I'll progress here. He's racing 5 events this season so far. He's won 4 of them. He had a great week last week. He won the Tomcat Invitational at Wildwood Park, and on last Saturday he won a cross country race right here on this field. Russell's Run by the Runway. Really impressive. A showing too at Mason County's Invitational. A lot of top quality runners there at that event. His performance was so good, he's now rated number 3 in Class AA.
Wow, that's impressive. Miller has been impressive for a couple of years now, and it's a name that you're going to keep seeing for the next couple of years. Just a sophomore. And off the field, he's a talented musician.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
He goes by Elijah, not Eli, for future reference.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He said Elijah.
Oh, he did. I'm not directed at Matthew. It's
Okay.
directed at the
Okay,
general
thanks.
viewing public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was amazing how
We
people
like
call-
to set the record straight here on
Yes!
HTPT.
Yeah, I'm calling him Elijah because a ton of people called him Eli at the race this past Saturday, but I think he likes to go by Elijah.
He prefers Elijah.
Elijah.
So we like to please.
There you go.
Especially if he's the #1 runner, we got to get it right.
Yes.
Moving on. 3-point stance. We got top 3 games of the week. We don't have much to choose from, to be honest with you. So we're going with Johnson Central at Boyd County. I'm sorry, but I don't know if this will be a very close game. But Boyd County has had a good year so far. Russell humbled them a little bit on Friday night. It was a 37-0 victory for Russell. Boyd County is trying to rebound there, but Johnson Central has bigger things in mind. They're on a quest to claim their 5th straight district title, and they get to try to begin that on this Friday night at Boyd County. The Lions are 3-1. They played pretty well so far this year, but they have not beaten Johnson Central since 2002, and they've not even played them to within 31 points since 2006. So Lions just looking to be a little competitive in this game. You know, Boyd County, yes, of course, they're going to want to go in and win the game, but realistically speaking, they need to go in and try to win each quarter, or at least be competitive in each quarter. Kind of break it down like that. And Boyd County might surprise a little bit of people if they do keep it close.
No doubt.
All right, Matthew, let's go with Raceland at Portsmouth West for you.
I don't really consider my game to be very close either. Raceland makes their yearly trip over to Ohio to play some football. Portsmouth West stands at 2-2. Raceland is undefeated, of course. Talking to West coach, we read in the Portsmouth Daily News. He's got a young team this season. Lost 13 seniors from last year's club. Started now a new quarterback, sophomore Dylan Bradford. They've got some youth on that team. They've got some growing pains this season. You look at Raceland on their side. Nathaniel Davidson's having a career season so far. He's leading the Class A in completions, passing yards, touchdown passes. Really commanding that offense. Last year, these two teams played last year at Ram Stadium. Raceland won 41-21. Raceland really controlled the ground game. They accumulated 256 yards of rushing. So maybe Bailey Walker can just take the lead from there and probably have a big night.
All right. Zach, you have right here this game, West Carter at Russell.
Weston Russell, and will be the first week of district play, but already a very big one. West Carter and Russell were the 2 of the 3 teams that tied for the lead in Class 3A District 5 last year. All finished tied at the top, and then the strength of victory tiebreaker came into play, and that kind of sorted that out. But West Carter has never beaten Russell, and will certainly be looking to do that this week. So I expect a good atmosphere. Russell's defense has been just airtight, as we'll talk about a little bit more later, averaging 5 points per game allowed and 139 yards a game, which is pretty stout. It's just kind of helped them cover over some of the struggles that they've had offensively, although they busted out a little bit last week as well. West Carter, on the other hand, coming off scoring 6 points last week and 20 yards of rushing in a loss at Nicholas County, and how much you can put into that. There was maybe some extenuating factors. The travel from Olive Hill to Carlisle is not always smooth. There were lightning and thunder delays, so it's probably hard for them to get into a rhythm. But at any rate, West Carter will certainly have to figure out how to generate more offense, and it's against a team that has not given up a lot of offense. So that'll certainly be the battle to watch. Is will West Carter be able to punch some holes in that bad boys defense, as we'll talk about here in a few minutes.
Yeah, the bad boys. What you going to do, Matthew?
When they come for you.
Coming at you now is the interviews with Coach TJ Maynard and lineman Jacob Pierce.
That's all the song I know.
That's good. That's fine.
That's all you need to know.
That's fine.
That's all you should.
All right, we got Coach TJ Maynard here from Russell. Coach Maynard, you guys, obviously with just one loss so far this year, defense has been the highlight. There's no doubt about that. 4 opponents in a row held to single digits. It's the first time you guys have done that since Russell has done that since 2004. So what stands out the most, if you had to pick a couple things about your defensive unit?
Just how we run to the football, and we got a lot of guys that got motors, and they're constantly moving, and we're a lot quicker than we have been in the years past, and they really like to run the ball, and right now they're taking a lot of pride in that side of the ball.
You guys got West Carter coming in here on Friday night. West Carter coming off a 17-6 loss to Nicholas County. But as we were just talking about on camera, some weird things happened in Carlisle, so that might not be an indication of what.
If you've never been to
is.
Carlisle, you don't understand. But again, West didn't play real well last week against Nicholas County. But the other game films I've seen, they played a lot better, and I expect obviously Coach Brown to get that turned around this week, and it'll be a battle for us.
Something you guys are trying to get turned around a little bit is the offense. You guys are wanting to see a little bit more, I'm sure. I know it starts up front, and you're wanting to try to get Nick Conley going like you know he can.
Yeah, obviously we knew coming in that our offensive line would be probably a little bit of struggle because Jacob Pierce is the only guy we had coming back, so we got 4 new guys there, and even our backups are new, so we got to try to get those guys up to speed, and we've gotten better each week with our steps and blocking assignments. A lot of times you see us not being able to run the ball. It's a combination of things. A lineman takes a wrong step, we don't see the blitz, have our head and eyes up, we block the wrong front, those type of things. But each and every week we've gotten a little bit better. So we're hopefully to continue to do that. And again, that's why you play your, the 4 rivals we play before the district to try to get some things worked out and find out where our weaknesses are. But those guys are getting better. And again, a lot of guys are going to load the box and stop Nick and stop our running game, because that's the first thing we want to do. But Austin's done a good job now in his development of getting the ball to our playmakers. Right,
Austin has had good numbers so far this year. I think 487 passing yards, if I'm not mistaken on that. 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. So
he threw his first one Friday.
Oh, okay, first one Friday.
He threw his first one Friday against Boy County. But no, he'd been, taking care of the ball really well. Sometimes we want to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker and get it to the guys that are open, and he would hold a little bit, but at least he wasn't forcing things, and he was taking care of the football. But as he's gotten better, we got to get the guys to, guys like Dre and Landon and Ryan Stump, Jaden Lane, Nick, we got to get those guys the ball in space.
Austin Smith used to be Austin Church. Was the last name thing confusing to you as a coach? How do you refer to your players? Is last name or first name or number?
It depends. Certain guys I call them by last name, certain guys by first name. But with he's in the process of being adopted by his stepfather.
I see.
And that process hasn't gone through yet, so it's back to Smith because that's what we have at Infant Campus. But they're in the process of changing that over.
Do you call him Austin then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Austin.
All right.
So a lot of times it's Smith's Church.
Okay, there you
go. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Get his attention.
Just whatever comes out, right?
Yeah.
Something that people have noticed about you, Coach, is you always wear the khaki shorts on the sideline. Do you have the same pair of shorts that you keep wearing over and over, or are you superstitious about them?
I wear the same game pair every week.
Okay.
Every week. So they're the same. Now, I've got many pairs because I wear them everywhere I go. Whether it's at school, out and about, I wear shorts.
But the game pair is the same?
They're the same.
No matter win or lose?
No matter win or lose.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it stay the same? How many years?
Depends on how bad I wear them out. Usually I might get a year out of it, maybe.
Kentucky's your alma mater.
Yes.
How are they going to turn things around here against South Carolina?
I don't know. I went down this Saturday to watch New Mexico State, and our defense is not very good down there right now. But hopefully they get it turned around. Again, still support them, and hope they can get it turned around quickly.
Maybe they can take tips from the Russell Red Devils defense. I mentioned the 4 straight opponents held the single digits, going for that 5th straight now. And that'll be the first time since 1983 if you guys do that. How important is keeping that streak going from what you guys call the bad boys?
Well, the streak is not anything that's really important to us now. It's important to those kids, in terms of, they take pride in that, and that's what you want. But for us, as long as we win the game, whether we got to score 50 or we got to hold them to 3, it doesn't matter to us as long as we win the game. But right now, again, that side of the ball is really carrying us. Again, those guys are playing really well, and you get into the ball. So if they can continue to do that, then that allows us to stay in games, and as our offense gets going a little bit better, to help us win the ball games in tight situations.
All right, well, the Red Devils will be in action again right here on Alvin McGloin Field this Friday night, 7:30 against West Carter. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, back at Russell with the offensive lineman, defensive lineman, senior Jacob Pierce. Jacob, you're the lone returning starter on the offensive line this year. What's it been like to kind of help those other guys come along and kind of be the leader of that group?
Well, I mean, it's pretty weird because every year that I've played, we've always had people coming back, multiple people. But this year, I'm the only one, and it's the first time I've honestly ever had to do it. So it was a learning process for me and them.
Also on the defensive line, and you guys have been, as we just talked about, very stout so far early this year. 4 games and allowed 5 points per game over that stretch, and it's really a historically strong defense early and against some teams that have some playmakers. So what's it been like to not only have such a good start, but to do it against teams like Ironton, Ashland, and Boyd, which was off to a pretty good start as well, and Greenup?
Well, I mean, it was a great feeling, honestly. It's just when you think about it, has been done since the mid 80s, where they've gone all 5 games, 5 straight games with about 5 points. And it's a great feeling. You're thinking, wow, I'm as good as Russell was once.
Right. Of course, this being a school and a program that's got great tradition and great history, so obviously pretty cool, I guess, to see your guys take their place in that history as well.
Yeah.
Looking at the defense, of course, you guys have been really good offensively. You guys are kind of still trying to figure out how to get Nick sprung, and Nick Conley, obviously one of the great backs, one of the great playmakers in this area, has one 100-yard rushing game so far this year against Ironton, and but otherwise it's been, teams load the box and try to stop him. What's it been like as an offensive lineman, kind of trying to figure out, okay, this is what they're going to do to us, and we got to figure out how to get him loose?
Well, I mean, it's pretty difficult in all honesty, just because, like with Boyd, they loaded us up. They'd bring 6, 7 guys at a time. We didn't have enough linemen to stop them. So, during the game, you're sitting there having to think, who do I pick? We have to take the most important one who's coming. It's just, we know that we can get Nick there. We just have to figure out how we're going to do it.
Obviously, again, one of the great playmakers in the area. And what's it like to block for a guy that is capable of having a huge night on any given week?
I mean, just the same as with our defense, it's a great feeling. You're thinking, this is a good player. He can actually go someplace. So knowing that I'm helping him get there makes you feel good, honestly.
No doubt. Obviously, a big game with West Carter coming in here on Friday, and district champions last year, and you guys did beat them at their place, but they ended up kind of with some tangled stuff and the strength of victory. They ended up winning it there. What do you envision the atmosphere being like here on Friday when they come in? A big game, obviously, for both teams.
It's going to be heated. Everyone's going to be filled with energy. Everyone's going to be wanting to hit hard, run to get the ball down the field and score. I'm expecting them to come out and play their hardest. I hope they do.
Look at you as a person off the field. Kind of, what are some of the interests that take up your time when you're not? Obviously, football takes up a lot of your time, but when you're not occupied with that, what do you like to do? What's interesting to you?
Well, honestly, I read a lot.
Yeah.
And then I like working with my church, going with the youth group, doing stuff. I don't really have too many. I like going to the gym and lifting because I'm wanting to play football in college. So I'm wanting to get bigger, make sure that I can actually be able to do it.
Obviously got some height on you at this point, so is it just a matter of kind of putting on some more muscle? Yeah, you do. Well, Russell's muscled its way to a very good start to the season, and they look to continue it on Friday.
Okay, Zach, it's time for you to kick off 2 for the road.
Well, kind of looking at, we talk a lot about UK football on this show, and they've kind of struggled a little bit, but another team in the state of Kentucky that's had just a great start to the year is Louisville, risen to number 3 in the AP rankings this week after just a demolition of Florida State last week, 63-20, that probably could have been worse if they had really wanted it to be and sharpened a few things up. But just looking at kind of thinking about, a lot of people talk about how has Louisville kind of risen to where they are so quickly. Not long ago, they were a legitimate little brother to Kentucky. And it really, you look at one person that's really just engineered that turnaround, and it's Bobby Petrino. And the man certainly comes with a share of baggage. Of course, everything that happened with his departure from Arkansas and the way he left Louisville the first time, interviewed with Auburn behind his AD's back, and then went to the Falcons and then quit on them halfway through the season. So and then some moral issues of sorts at Arkansas, and then he went to Western, stayed there for 1 year and on to Louisville. So he comes with his share of baggage, but the man knows how to coach football at any rate. And so much of college coaching is not just X's and O's, it's building a culture, building a program. And he's taken Louisville from where they were the little brother in the state of Kentucky to being the big bully and to legitimately believing that. And they're getting, they got some first place votes in the AP poll this week for the first time, and I think I read 11 years. Which is impressive, and whether or not they'll be able to hang with the Alabamas and the Ohio States, we'll find out down the road. But what they did to Florida State indicates certainly that they're right there in the mix right now. And kind of one other kind of tie on to this, that Kentucky fans are kind of want to maybe pick on Louisville a little bit for hiring a guy like that back. But they hired a guy with some baggage themselves, and it's worked out pretty well for him so far. His name's John Calipari. So.
Good point.
Now, obviously, it's maybe apples and oranges to a certain degree, but
hey, baggage
it's worked out. It's worked out great for UK so far. So, and then people want to say, well, if UK ends up with a football coaching vacancy, there are certain guys that we may not want to hire. Art Briles and everything he presided over at Baylor. But I think the bottom line is, and you may not necessarily believe this as a person, but as a football fan, as a college fan, as a sports fan. Winning covers over a lot of issues, and right now it's working out pretty well for Louisville.
No doubt. Lamar Jackson and the Louisville Cardinals will be in action this Saturday at Marshall, Saturday night at Marshall. It might be the best team that has ever come in to Marshall.
I'd say the herd may have bit off more than they could chew with this one. We'll find out.
Yeah, for sure. The Bengals and the Steelers, last year the playoff matchup was like a cage match, and this past Sunday was like a slap fight. I mean, it's like, what happened? So they need to find the balance there, the Bengals do. They need to find the balance between letting that anger and hatred kind of reach that boiling point and then having their emotions toned down so much that it's like, well, were they even on the field? So you got to find that balance by the time the Bengals host Pittsburgh later in the season. You'd like to see Cincinnati, if you are a Bengals fan, kind of find that balance a little bit and, not wait until the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game to have a little bit of a sense of urgency. You go into Pittsburgh, you should be pumped up the whole game to get that win. And I just didn't see a whole lot of fire from that team on Sunday. It's early in the season. I think the Bengals will be just fine. But by the end of the season, you want a home playoff game. And if you don't win the division, you're not going to get a home playoff game.
Right.
And these games are so important. I think the Bengals will probably end up fighting for a wild card spot just because their schedule is so tough. And they got to play with more of a sense of urgency no matter what it says on the calendar.
Right. Well, there is a guy that they were missing Sunday that tends to be kind of a catalyst along those kind of lines by the name of Vontaze Burfict.
So is he gone?
He might be back, and it might get more interesting for sure. If he can,
Bengals don't miss him.
He can. Depends on who you ask, I guess.
In some ways, they do.
Right.
All right.
Still played pretty well defensively without him, but he's really kind of an emotional leader, fiery guy, and maybe they could have used a little bit of that on Sunday.
Yep, I agree. From Zack Klemme and Matthew Sparks, I'm Aaron Snyder. Thank you once again to Chick-fil-A every week, and thank you to TJ Maynard and Jacob Pierce for joining us from Russell. Next week, I think we're going to try to hit Fleming County. So, breaking out of the box a little bit.
Road trip.
See you then.